Okay, here we go. Thank you guys so much for getting on the call to learn more about what I do as a coach and to find out if this is possibly a good fit for you as well. I wanted to start off by just telling you a little bit more about me and how I got involved in coaching. Um, I started actually as a customer doing a program about a little over 2 years ago. It was July of 2015. And my sister was getting married that September. She got married on Labor Day weekend 2 years ago. And I was just starting to feel like very self conscious about my weight. I was about 40 pounds overweight. And my sister is 10 years younger than me. I was going to be in her wedding. I was her matron of honor. She had a huge bridal party. And all the girls were 10 years younger than me. And they were thin and beautiful. And I was just starting to feel really self conscious. And also, I had some other things going on too. I was very uncomfortable in my own skin. I didn't have a lot of energy. I didn't have a lot of confidence, and I just needed a change. So when I saw the results, my sister was actually doing the same program to get ready for the wedding. And I saw how amazing she looked. And I said, you know what, I really need to do something. I'm going to give it a shot. Little did I know that that one decision was going to change the trajectory of my entire life. The program that I did was the 21-day fix. And what that is, if you're not familiar with it, is it incorporates 30 minutes of exercise every day with a healthy eating plan that uses these portion control containers so that you know exactly how much and what type of food you can eat every day. So it's not like a prescribed, like you eat this for breakfast and this for lunch, but it's you choose from certain food groups and then you put them into the container so that you know exactly how much to have. I really liked that approach. I needed the structure. I had tried so many different plans, different products, all kinds of things, and there was nothing I could ever really stick with. I think the longest I ever stuck with a program was about 6 weeks. And then it got to be very difficult. It was one of those plans where I had to basically starve myself a couple days a week. And that just wasn't sustainable for me. So when I stopped doing that, I actually gained back the weight that I had lost plus some. So I needed something that was more sustainable. I needed something that was more realistic. And what I really needed was something that was going to show me how to live a healthy lifestyle. So it would actually lay the foundation for me. And that was what this did. So after doing one round of the 21-day fix, I had lost, I think, 7.5 pounds. And I was feeling really excited about the results that I was getting. And I felt like I could just keep going and going. So I did. And I did another round. The second round, I decided to incorporate the shakes. We have a product called Shakeology. You may have heard of it before. And when I did my first round, I was like, I'm not doing shakes again. I've done shakes before. They don't do anything. It's a waste of money. I'm just going to eat real food. But I got worn down a little bit because during the workout videos, the trainer would talk about the shakes and how important they were to the program. And my sister was using them and she raved about them. So I finally said, you know what? I might as well give it a shot. They have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If I don't like them, I can always return them. So I signed up with a coach account because I knew that I wanted to get the discounts if I was going to continue. So rather than wait, it was easier just to sign up as a coach. Also, I do have a little bit of a business background because I shouldn't say a little bit, I have a pretty solid business background. I've owned several businesses in the past. And I knew that it might be a possibility down the road that I might want to make a business out of it. I wasn't ready at that point. I had another business that I was working. I owned and operated a social media marketing firm. And that I was very, very busy with that. I had a couple of really big clients in the area, and that was just what I was focused on. So I signed up with the coach account for the discounts. I did a second round of the 21-day fix. Started using the shakes. Within 3 days, I was hooked on the shakes. I felt amazing. I had incredible energy, sleeping better at night. My digestion was better. Like everything was good. So that right there just sold me on that. I really was just blown away by how amazing that shake was. So, people were starting to notice because I was getting excited and I was talking about things, and I did a lot of networking in the local area with the local business community because of the social media marketing business I had. And people were saying like, what have you been doing? You look amazing. And that just like helped to keep me going. It got me so motivated. And I finally had my first person reach out to me who wanted to try the program. And this was a girl who I went to high school with, hadn't seen or talked to her in about 20 years. And she just reached out to me and she said, hey, I've seen some of your pictures on Facebook. You're looking amazing. I want to know what you're doing. and she ended up purchasing something from me. And that was really when I realized how powerful this whole thing is. Just simply sharing my story and inspiring other people, I could make a business out of that. And to me, like, that concept just really got me excited, because the business I was in with my social media marketing was very frustrating to me. I enjoyed the actual work of it, but dealing with the clients and, people would reach out to me because they needed help with their social media. They didn't really understand how it worked. But then as soon as I would start doing things, they would become like hypercritical, and all of a sudden they were an expert. And that was really difficult for me to deal with, because I felt like I was constantly like battling. And that's, anybody who knows me, like, I'm not a confrontational person at all. So that was really frustrating to me. And I'm a big proponent of doing things that you enjoy and things that you love. And I just didn't love it anymore. So I began to transition away from that business and into my coaching business. And once I made that decision, things took off for me pretty quickly. I just like ate up every type of training that I could. One of the really cool things about this business is that you're in business for yourself, but you're never alone. So you always have the support of your sponsoring coach. And if you decide that this is something you want to do, I would be your sponsoring coach, and I would put you through a series of trainings, and you always have access to me and always have support. That was what I had. I decided, because I knew that I might want to make it a business one day, when I signed up, I actually researched coaches because I wanted to be on a strong team with a strong leader. And I found one of the top 10 coaches in the entire network. And I've been very, very blessed to work with her. She's just an incredible human being. She's very knowledgeable, and I've learned a lot from her. And she's really taken me under her wing to mentor me, which is nice, because not only do I get to learn, but I get to pass that on to my coaches and my team. So, I started to really build my business, and within the first 8 months, I had gotten to diamond level, which is not easy to do. That was very exciting. And I just kept chugging along. And, before long, I was doing, pretty well income wise. And a little over a year into my business, last November, I got very sick. We had been on vacation. I got home, and I thought I just maybe picked something up on the plane. You know how you just like get sick from being around other people in that enclosed area. And it just felt like the flu or something. So I just kept like resting and, just trying to like drink a lot of water and take care of myself. And I started to notice that my neck was swollen. And sometimes I get swollen glands when I'm sick, so I didn't think too much of it, but it was concentrated right here. And it started to really get uncomfortable to speak or to swallow. There was starting to get like pressure, like inward. So one of my friends suggested that it might be something with my thyroid, and I really should have my doctor look at it. So I did. It did turn out to be an issue with my thyroid, but they couldn't quite figure out what. My blood work came back normal. They sent me for a biopsy, but the biopsy came back inconclusive. Meanwhile, my neck was continuing to get more and more swollen and tight and uncomfortable. So I finally met with a surgeon, and she had said, I really think that we need to take it out. You do have I had a 4 centimeter nodule, I think on this side of my thyroid, which is 4 centimeters is pretty big when you're talking about a small little gland in here. She said, I know that the biopsy came back inconclusive, but I'm concerned about the size of it. And she said, if you remove one side, eventually you may need to remove the other side. So you might want to think about just taking the whole thing out. At that point, I was over it. I was like, just take it out. Like, I feel like crap. I need to get better. Let's just do this. So they did remove my entire thyroid at the beginning of December last year. And when the pathology came back, because they do testing on it, about 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, I had an appointment with my surgeon again, just to do a follow-up. And the pathology had come back that I did have stage 3 thyroid cancer. Total shock to me, because I don't have a history of it in my family. I don't have a history of thyroid issues in my family. The only cancer that we've had in my family that I'm aware of is my maternal grandmother had breast cancer and beat it. So it was just a huge shock to me. And it took me a while to recover. I had the surgery. That took a while to recover. Your thyroid, when you have it removed, you have to take medication for the rest of your life, because you need to simulate those hormones that you're missing from that gland. And it took us some time to really get that medication figured out. I had to go through a special treatment in February. It's radioactive iodine. So you take a pill and it makes you radioactive. So I actually had to have my children leave my home for a few days, and I had to isolate myself in my bedroom. I couldn't go near my husband. I couldn't go near my dogs. My kids had to be away from me. It was very interesting. It was not something that I was ever had ever been familiar with or was on my radar at all. So that treatment was very scary for me. But once I got through all that, I started really doing a lot of research into nutrition. And obviously I was already a coach at that point. I already had a foundational knowledge of nutrition. But the more I learned, the more I realized that there's a huge connection between our lifestyle and whether or not we get a disease. And remember, I said my thyroid cancer was a huge shock because we didn't have a family history of it. So to me, if it wasn't something genetic, it had to have been something from my lifestyle. So even though I had been living a healthy lifestyle for a year and a half at that point, a year and a half does not undo 38 years of treating my body like a garbage can, which is basically what I did before I got healthy. So that's really been part of my mission now going forward since that time. Obviously I always wanted people to get healthy. That was always my driving goal, but it was more about like, I knew how good I felt and I wanted other people to feel that way. Wasn't so much like, I wasn't thinking as much about disease prevention, but that's a huge part of why I do what I do and why I'm so passionate about it, because I think that there are a lot of people out there who are suffering from diabetes, heart disease, cancer, all kinds of autoimmune diseases, all kinds of things that could possibly be helped by proper diet and exercise. So that's like my mission. That's my why. That's why I love what I do and why I think it's so important. So that's basically my story. And I just was promoted again. My team is now a Star Diamond team, which if you're not in the company, that probably doesn't mean much to you, but it really is a big deal. And it's exciting. And it's such a great time to hop on board. We have this great momentum going. And when people join my team, like I said, there's a whole training system that you go through, and it's really exciting. And there's just, there's so many amazing things and opportunities that come up. So what I wanted to do is just share some of the common concerns that people have. Now you have to remember that this is a business, so it's a big decision if it's something that you want to do. I mean, nobody opens a business lightly. You have to really think about it and make sure that you learn as much as you possibly can. Most of the questions that I get, I'm going to address right now, but I just wanted to share them with you. And if you have any questions, please feel free. You can message me within the invite group that I put together. You can private message me, or you can always email me. My email address is danny@dannyclaire.com. So the first question that I hear this a lot, and this tends to be a pretty common concern, is, somebody will say, geez, it sounds really great, but I'm not good at sales. Well, I'm here to tell you guys, I suck at sales. Like sales has never been something that I'm comfortable with. I'm not good at closing. I'm not good at prospecting. I'm not good at doing cold calls or anything like that. But luckily, that's not really what we do as Beachbody coaches. What I do is probably mostly what you have already seen. I share my story, and I inspire people, and I tell people what I'm doing, and I live a healthy lifestyle, and I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. And that's really how I get people interested in what I do. To see, I had a 40-pound weight loss initially. And then when I got sick last year, I gained 20 of those pounds back, which is very common with the thyroid removal. In fact, I've seen some people who gain much more than that. And I worked really hard over the summer to lose that weight. I finally just recently hit the weight that I had been at before I got sick with my thyroid. So, the sales portion of it really doesn't come into play because I'm just sharing all of this stuff with people. And a lot of people just see that and say, wow, like I want to do that. You look amazing and you feel good and you're excited all the time. I want some of that. So that's really what I do. And that's what I encourage my coaches to do. That's our job. I always tell people our job is to inspire people. It's not to sell them. If they're not ready, and there are a lot of people who are not ready to make a change, it's not our job to talk them into it. It's our job to continue to inspire them and support them and be there for them when they are ready. The next thing that people ask me about is whether or not they need a fitness or nutrition background. Absolutely not. I did not have one at all. I did have a business background, but that's not a necessity either. My coach, who is currently the number 3 coach in the entire company, She did not have a business background. She did not have a nutrition background, and she did not have a fitness background. She just had the drive and the motivation and the desire. And that is really all you need. You need to have the desire, you need to be coachable, and you need to keep an open mind. This type of business is a little bit different from anything I have ever done. And I've done I've been with other companies. I've been a representative with other companies before. This is different. And if you can, keep your eyes and ears open and really take in the information that you're getting from your coach and from other coaches within the network, you can really learn a lot. And when you start to implement those strategies, that's really where you can be successful. But it does take diligence, it does take hard work, and it takes consistency over time. But the fitness and nutrition background are definitely not a necessity. I mean, you don't have to be a fitness expert because we have fitness experts who lead the workouts, and you don't need to be a nutrition expert because the nutrition plans are already created by our nutrition experts. What you need to do is you need to go through a program yourself so that you can familiarize yourself, and then you can assist other people to do the same. That's basically what I do. This is one of my favorite ones because people say this to me all the time. I don't have a beach body. How can I be a beach body coach? Well, like I said, when I started, I was 40 pounds overweight, and I started to lose weight slowly, and people started to notice. People tend to relate more to the people who are still working towards their goals instead of the people who have already reached them. I don't want to say that's necessarily the case, because there are a lot of people who sign up who already are in great shape, but there's something very inspiring to see somebody who is overweight, or who, wants to build muscle or whatever it may be, wants to lower their cholesterol, whatever. If you're not at your goal, it's okay, because people see that you're working towards it and you're not giving up, and you're still going through the holidays and birthdays and Halloween candy, whatever else it may be. You're making it into a lifestyle, and that's what really gets people interested and on board. And they watch, they see what you're doing, and they want to see that you're legit and that you're actually doing the things that you say other people should do. And that's what eventually, as they watch you, that's what gets people to trust you and to want to work with you. So you do not need to have a fitness or nutrition background, and you do not need to have a perfect body. This is the one that a lot of people say to me, is that, I don't understand why I have to pay money to make money. That would be absolutely true if I were trying to hire you for a job, but this is not a job, it's a business. And there is no business out there that doesn't have some level of investment. Like I said, I used to own and operate a social media marketing firm. There were all kinds of, I had an office space that I had to pay for. I had office equipment that I had to pay for. I had to drive to all of my clients. So, there was gas money and automotive stuff involved. Like all of those things, those were all part of my business expenses. I had different software subscriptions and all kinds of stuff that I had to invest into that business. Years ago, I owned a salon, and I invested thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into that place for very little return. And that was a financial nightmare for me. But, it's a risk. It's anytime you start a business, it's a risk. I do have to say that with Beachbody, it's one of the lowest investments I've ever seen for a business. And everything that you're investing is going towards products and programs that you will actually be using yourself. So it's not like you're paying for some like special kit or anything. You're paying for a program that comes with the portion control containers that I mentioned earlier. You can either do one fitness program, or we also have this great option where you can get all of our fitness programs online for a full year. That's what I recommend to coaches, because that way, you can try a bunch of different programs. If somebody asks you about a program you're not familiar with, you can go in quick and look at one of the workouts so that you can read up on it, so you can see all of the materials and everything. That's really the best way to coach people, because you can learn more that way. But some people like to start with one program, and that's okay too. So that package will include either that complete access to the fitness programs or one program, plus the portion control containers with the nutrition plan, and a 30-day supply of the Shakeology shakes that I mentioned before. And having all of those together give you the complete package so that you can have the highest level of success. If you have weight to lose, or you have goals that you want to reach, but you also get to experience everything so that you're able to intelligently speak to everything with your clients. and your prospective customers and clients. So, that, like I said, that investment is minimal to start a business, and it's not even like an overhead because you're paying the exact same amount to get started that a customer would. So it's not any additional investment. After your first month, there is a $16 fee to maintain your coach account. And that also includes your website. It includes the customer service. It includes all of the shipping. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Whereas in my past businesses, I was customer service. I was the shipping department. I was the billing department. I was the financial person. I was everything. We get to do, as coaches, we get to do the fun stuff. So, all that other boring stuff is left to somebody else, which is beautiful. So to me, it's worth the $16 a month. And to most people, I would think it is too. The last one that I hear a lot is, I don't want to do that. It's a pyramid scheme. I know all about those. If you're concerned about pyramid schemes, I highly recommend that you do some research on them because pyramid schemes are completely illegal. So any business that is operating under this type of structure cannot possibly be a pyramid scheme because they would be shut down like that. We are all governed by the DSA, which is the Direct Selling Association. And they have rules and codes of conduct that we need to follow. Most of them are ethical standards. And, that's something that I'm very proud of. I feel like even, some of the other companies that I've been with who are part of that DSA, I've found that with Beachbody, the way that we handle and carry ourselves is extremely ethical, and I'm very proud to be part of this company. Of course, there are going to be exceptions to every rule. Of course, there are going to be people who sign up to be coaches and then, just don't behave in a professional manner, but that's true of any business. And, one of the things I always like to stress to people is that, don't let one bad apple ruin the bunch. You may have had a bad experience with somebody from my company or from another company, but that doesn't mean that they're all bad. I would say, go into this, if this is something you're really thinking about doing, go into this with an open heart and an open mind and just learn as much as you can and really implement what you're learning and, put your best foot forward, be consistent, stick with it because this is a business of time and consistency. So it's not going to be an overnight get rich quick kind of thing. It's a slow and steady wins the race kind of thing. It took me about 1.5 years to start making a full-time income. And now I'm matching what my husband makes at his full-time job at Coca-Cola, which is a really big deal for me. So, but if you're concerned about it being a pyramid scheme, I absolutely 100% can promise you that that's not the case at all. I do know that some people say, well, maybe it's not a true pyramid scheme, but it's still, you have like a leader up here and then they have all these people underneath them and it forms a pyramid. Well, that's the same of any business. I mean, I worked in the corporate world for a long time and there were, there was a CEO and then you've got top level management and you've got middle management and then you've got supervisors and then you've got all the worker bees and it all trickles up. It's the same thing. And actually, no, I shouldn't say it's the same thing because it's not. I mean, it's a similar concept, but with our type of structure and business, I can actually be making more than my sponsor coaches because we all have the same opportunities. It's not like you're stuck at a level and you have to get promoted. If you get promoted, that's up to you. I don't have to interview for promotions. I don't have to apply for them. I just have to work my butt off and get there. And there are lots and lots and lots of coaches in this network who are making more than the person who sponsored them. But that's up to you. That's up to the coaches individually. So that's pretty much everything I have for you guys. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. What I'm really looking for on my team, I'm looking for go-getters. I'm looking for people who want to take this business and run with it. I'm not so concerned about what your background is. Like I said before, you don't need to have a fitness background, a nutrition background, or a business background. What you need is to have the desire to help people and have the desire to learn and to be coachable. All the other stuff doesn't matter. So, please get in touch with me if this is something that you're interested in doing. I do have, let me just look at my calendar. New coach training is at the end of the month. So what I like to do is get people signed up well ahead of that so I can do a little one-on-one training with you. And then you go into a group with other new coaches and you'll learn from the training, you'll learn from each other and possibly even pair up with another coach so that you can be accountability partners, which is wonderful. So shoot me a message if you want more information or if you want to know about the sign up process, or you can just email me, Danny@dannyclaire.com. Okay. Thanks guys. Bye.